Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Feel Good Weddings podcast by Polka Dot Wedding. My name is Dorothy, otherwise known as Miss Polka Dot, and I'm the founder and editor. We believe in seeking out content that is inclusive and diverse so that everyone can see themselves in the stories that we tell. We've done this for 15 years through the written word, and now we want to have those chats in voice through a podcast. Can't wait to take you along for the ride. The Polka Dot Wedding team is honoured to conduct our work on the land of the BoonWurrung, WoiWorung, Eora and Kuring-gai people. We honour the traditional Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander custodians of the land, and we pay our respects to elders past and present. Now, today's wedding is a feast for the eyes because it is full of beautiful, colourful DIY details. Amy is a DIY queen. Not only does she have her own graphic design business, which is full of bright, beautiful colour, but she even runs her own DIY party business. And so when it came to her wedding to Malin, the two got married before the pandemic, lucky them, it was natural that she was going to do plenty of DIY projects. And, well, we love DIY at Polka Dot Wedding. We have Polka Dot Made, which is full of tutorials and full of ideas and tips and tricks. But we also know, and as we're going to learn from Amy, that DIY weddings have this fine balance. It's really hard to get the balance right between how much do you do without killing yourself and when do you know when to pull the vendors in? What do you hand over to vendors? What isn't worth doing it yourself? And so with Amy today, we're going to talk through all of those details. The day is beautiful. It's quintessentially Melbourne because, you know, it's in an old warehouse, but it's full of colour and detail, right down to Amy's incredible pom-pom headpiece, which is made of bright and beautiful colours, of course. This one is really special, and it's a wedding that I have loved for years and years and years, and so I'm so thrilled to be able to talk to Amy, not just about her day, but about the ins and outs of going DIY bonkers on your wedding. Can't wait for you to hear it. Hello, Amy. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, Dad. Thanks for having me.
I'm so thrilled to chat to you because not only did we feature your wedding pre-pandemic, which I said earlier in my intro, lucky you, but I've followed your work so long through Crumpet Club that I'm really excited to get to know everything that you think now that you've had some distance from the wedding and all the exciting things that you put into it.
Yeah, oh my gosh, absolutely. I cannot believe our timing. We're about 6 months ahead of the first lockdown. I have no idea how all these fantastic people managed to organise a wedding with this pandemic looming over them. It was stressful enough, I think, with that not as a awful time.
I agree.
Yeah.
So let's dive into, tell me firstly about yourself. You and your husband Malen live in Melbourne.
We do.
So kick us all off with a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I run a graphic design agency called Crumpet Club, and we're all freelancers. So it was something that was born out of the pandemic. But yeah, we're all designers and illustrators that are wanting to live our best freelance life. It's something that was born from being stuck at home and wanting to kind of go freelance anyway. So I do that with a few other designers, which is awesome. And Malin is in IT and he is looking to get into winemaking, which is like a total flip. It's a completely new thing for him. But yeah, so he's been kind of working on studying that and making his own wine and ramping that up hopefully in the next few years.
Yum.
Mm-hmm.
Good career change.
Yeah,
much better.
Yeah, I love it.
Much better for you.
Yeah.
So how did you and Malin first meet?
So we did know each other when we were younger. We were like early adults. Yeah, we knew each other when we were younger, and then we each went off and travelled. We had a bit of a life of our own, and then reconnected over Tinder when I was randomly back on the Gold Coast. I had moved to Melbourne. We both grew up on the Gold Coast, but I moved to Melbourne a bit later in life, and I was back for a holiday and decided to open Tinder, and he popped up. Back in the day though, Tinder was just like left or right swiping. That was like all you could do. There was no crazy functions like there are now. But apparently, unbeknownst to me, his friends were on his Tinder and saw me like to live through his Tinder account. And they were like, "It's Amy." So they swiped on Yay! So I do owe them my gratitude for that. I don't know if they would.
So it wasn't really Malin in that sense. It was more their fault.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm very lucky. I'm lucky that I have them around.
So clearly you fell in love and you dated and the romance all blossomed. So how did you decide that you were going to tie the knot?
He actually proposed. He took me on a birthday trip to I'm really into like period dramas and old big like estate homes and mansions and things like that. And there's this beautiful, beautiful mansion in Melbourne in a place called Ripponlea. It's called Ripponlea Estate. And he took me there. Do you know it? Oh my God, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's just like magical. And he just took me there for a birthday thing, which I thought was just a birthday thing. And I'm making him pose in front of like all of these, like a piano, stand in front of this piano, take a picture, stand in front of this portrait. And I guess I never realized, but he was really like, he was happy to pose for every single photo, which is just not like him. So he's obviously got something on his mind. And then, they did like a house tour, which he very reluctantly said we were allowed to go on, which I'm never allowed to go on. So we're like on this tour with all these like nanas basically and me, which is just my favorite kind of people. And I'm like asking about the doorknobs and like the history of this thing. And the guy's like, okay, the tour is gone on way too long. It's ended now. But if you want to do like your own tour of the kitchen downstairs, you can. And I'm like, oh my God, please can we do the tour of the kitchen, Malin? He's like, maybe we should just look at the gardens. So we like walked. I was like, fine, okay, we'll look at the gardens. We go out into the gardens and there's this like gorgeous gazebo out there. And I'm like, oh, it's so pretty. It's so perfect. This gazebo is so perfect. And he was like, pretty perfect for a proposal. And I was like, what? and then it's all a blur. I have no idea what happened after that. But he proposed and I was crying and then I'm calling my mom and it was really lovely. So he couldn't have picked a better spot. It was pretty good. Pretty good work.
I love the pretty perfect for a proposal part. That's my favourite.
Working on that. Incredible job.
Now, before you get into your wedding, which is the subject of today's episode, obviously, because we want to dive into all your DIY, I want to start with your Hands and Bucks because you did something really cool and you called it, your surname is Franks, you called it FranksFest.
Yeah, we did. Oh my God.
Which I love. But I want to know all about that part first before we even talk about wedding because that was so much fun by the sound of it.
It really was. It was just one of those things that we were like, I don't know, maybe it's because we're older. Like, I mean, we're not that old, but like we're in our 30s. And by this stage, I feel like you don't really have girlfriends and boyfriends anymore. Like everyone's just your mate. And I didn't really like the idea of us having like our separate things because like I'm friends with, the boys in our group and he's friends with the girls in our group. So it's like, we should do a thing together. Anyway, so we were just thinking about that for ages. And a lot of our friends are in bands and musical, like we have just so many talented friends. And Malin used to be in a hardcore band when he was younger, which is when I sort of knew him when we were younger. And we'd always like be going to the same shows at like dive bars and like just punk crowd. And he thought, why don't we see if we can like reform that band from my youth? He was the front man as well. So I think he lost his voice from doing that. Like he probably wasn't professionally like screaming. It was just like screaming, I wouldn't say it was singing. And now he's got a very croaky voice. I think it's because of that. So he was like, we'll reform the band. So he got in touch with the old dudes that were in it and they were all super keen. And we got another stand-in for one of the dudes that wasn't around anymore. But they came down for it. They actually, most of them live on the Gold Coast as well. So people travel down for it. And we basically created an evening where they were one of the bands that played. And then we got like real bands that played as well, which are our friends. A bit more professional. And we had such a fun night. We just hired out this really cool pub in Castlemaine. We went to Castlemaine, so we went. It's a bit out of Melbourne, and this really cool place called the Bridge Hotel. And They let us do this. I don't know how. It was like a Saturday night. Yeah, and just decorated the place in like sausage balloons because our last one's Frank. So we called it FranksFest, and it was all just like cocktail.
It kind of was the most apt surname, really, wasn't it? Like,
it's incredible. Yeah, so we pretty much do a lot of things with the name Franks in it. Like we're trying to organize Franksgiving again, which is like it's just Thanksgiving but with sausage balloons. Like there's no real difference. Yeah, there's lots of like Franks themed things in our life. Yeah.
I feel like it sounded almost bigger than the wedding in some ways, or almost more fun.
It really was though, because it was like you could invite everyone. It wasn't like
a bit more casual
dinner. Yeah, it was totally our kind of speed. Yeah, so that was really fun. And just people that could just come and watch the bands for the night. And we made it like a $5 entry so we could actually pay the band something, because we're like, is it wrong to ask you to
cover charge
play music for us for free? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty good. We had some randoms come in too, which was exciting.
They're probably wondering what they walked into.
What is this sausage thing? Where are the sausages?
Are they serving sausages? Yeah. Now, you are one of the queens of DIY that I follow. You just, not only is your graphic design so full of colour, but you do endless DIY things. So your wedding was clearly always going to be crafty, but you started then with a blank canvas venue, which is like the sort of dilapidated venue, The Line, which is kind of industrial, all kind of vibes. So how do you even start? Like, how do you start with your vision for your wedding when, if you're anything like me, it's just like you love all the weddings, you love all the ideas because you just like love all the colour and all the things.
I think I struggled with that actually. I have really big dreams. So I'm always like, okay, we could do like 1 million paper flowers. Like how good would that be? And just things like that where I was just at the beginning planning was more just I could do anything, and that was really exciting, but also when you don't have limits it's a bit hard. So how I started, I guess I was just Pinterest crazy. Like I was just pinning everything and trying to work out what the things were that I wanted to do. And then the other thing I guess was thinking about that venue, we chose it because everything would be within the same place, because they managed to sort of set it up so that we could do the ceremony, the reception dinner, the dance floor. There's like a space to do the drinks kind of in between the things that are happening. There's an alley at the front as well that was like great for photos. It just had everything there. So I kind of think that was a really helpful thing to know. Okay, so at least everything's going to be in this one space. I don't have to think about like, I don't know, setting up seating and another venue and then having things be moved. So yeah, just knowing that it was all going to be in the same space was really good to start with. And then, design-wise, I wanted to do everything. Like I actually wanted to do a lot more than what I did, but I think what happened was what we ended up going with was just perfect. I think if I had done more, it would have been a bit OTT, which is me as well, Yeah, so just having a space to design for, there was like the reception space, and we ended up going with Sarah from Banging Hangings. She created this fantastic hanging installation above our reception tables, and that was kind of the showstopper. And then the other things that were around were a big balloon installation thing that we had by the entrance, and I created a whole lot of paper flowers and wove in some real foliage for the altar bit, the bit where we're standing at the end of the aisle with the celebrants. So that was sort of like, there was 3 kind of key pieces, and then everything else just kind of worked around that. There was like little things that we scattered through, like candles in glass lanterns that we just popped through. I pretty much had paper flowers everywhere. But the rest of it, actually, I told everyone to dress in colour. I didn't want anyone wearing black because, I mean, I wear black all the time. It's not like I don't like wearing black, but I was just like, I felt like that could be a nice way to bring colour and mood into this space as well. And people met that brief. Like I had someone come in like head to toe bright orange, like a guy got this bright orange suit. It was incredible. Like the effort that people put in, I was actually really impressed. So that was another way of doing it. But I guess the biggest thing that I did was the pom-poms. I made all these pom-pom badges. So I saw a blog ages ago. I actually think it was on your website. And yeah, this girl had made like these really cute rosettes for everyone to wear.
Yeah.
I'll have to find the link. I'll show you. And that inspired me. I was just like, okay, yes, I love it. Like making a thing. I didn't want to gift a thing that someone was just going to throw out. I mean, to be fair, I'm sure people threw out these pom-poms in the end, but I know plenty of people who kept them. So I made these badges that were one kind of quite big pom-pom and these ribbons that fell down behind them. And we had like 100 guests. And then I made one badge for every person that was there. And I made extra for every staff member and any like performer or anything that was like.
Can I just ask, how long was there between this moment that you got engaged to the wedding? Because you didn't do this in like 3 months, did you? You weren't completely bonkers.
Yeah, I think so. By the time, so when we got engaged to the wedding,
when you decided you were going to endeavour on making everyone a pom-pom.
Oh, that's the problem. I think I had all this time. We actually got engaged I think it was a year and a half. It was about a year and a half before we got married.
So we do not recommend doing this if you've got 3 months to go.
No, but the thing is, Dot, I'm pretty sure I started half of those jobs about 3 months in because I was like, you know what would be amazing? I think I work better under pressure or something like that. So I left so much stuff to the last minute, which is, not good advice. If you've got a year and a half, get that vision sorted and then just start straight away. I wish I did that. Yeah, there was like a couple of nights where my mum had come over and I'm like basically like whipping her like a horse to be like, glue faster, like trying to make her do these badges with me. Oh, my poor mother. Yeah, yes. I did not leave.
So you did the pom-poms, which also featured your hairpiece, and you also DIY'd your flowers.
Yes.
How do you, I feel like part of the issue with a DIY wedding is you've got to try and figure out what am I going to do myself and what am I going to hand over to professionals, because it isn't worth DIYing everything. It is just, it's silly and it can absolutely ruin the whole experience for you and the outcome can be different. So how do you had this beautiful blend of DIY and pros. So how did you decide what to DIY and how did you decide when to bring in the pros?
I think I still struggle with that, actually. I think that I should have brought in more pros sooner, but how I decided was I was running out of time. So I ended up having to like get people in there because I was like, oh, Amy, you misunderestimated exactly how long you're going to need to do all of these ridiculous things. And so some things just got scrapped because I was like, no, okay, too late. Like you've left it too late. You can't do it. The hanging thing, I actually was like, I could make that. I could totally do that. And then I was like, who am I kidding? Like, are you serious? It's such a massive job. And yeah, basically I messaged Sarah and I was just, who runs Banging Hangings. And I was just like, hi, I think I've left this too late, but like, can we do a thing? And she's like, oh my God, totally. She was so easy to work with. I didn't even meet her. Like she was in and out like a ninja. She got that thing up and got it back down again at the end of the night, like so quickly. I basically just told her my color palette and she created this amazing hanging installation. The line is quite big. So I feel like this installation she put in there really took up the space above the tables. It looked incredible. And there's no way I could have done something like that. But I don't know, I'm pretty cocky with like craft stuff. I'm like, I could do it. I'll work it out. There is no way I could have worked that out. So I don't know what my advice is there. Just like get someone else to do it.
Know when to fold it. Know when to fold.
Totally. I need someone telling me that like every day. The other things I did, I think I wanted to make more paper flowers than I did. I made a whole lot of paper flowers because I was like, why not? I can make them. Like, how cool would that be? So I thought there was 3 bouquets. So myself and my 2 bridesmaids had a bouquet of flowers. And then there was the altar thing, the arch circle thing. I don't even know what it's called. Arbor. It's called an arbor. Arbor. Yep. And I put like flowers on that as well. I made a whole bunch of things. And I think we've talked about this before, but like delegating, knowing how to delegate, knowing who to delegate to. This is a big deal. And I think I'm still working on this. So my advice is spend your time learning how to teach people how to do the thing you want to do, because you end up saving so much time than if you would do it yourself. I even think this in just general business life, but
I was going to say, isn't this like, this is a business thing that I find all the time.
Oh my God,
so yeah,
right?
100%.
If you're a perfectionist, you're like, oh, it's just easier if I do it myself, which is me. And it's such a stupid thing to think, because it is not easier if you do it yourself. You end up doing that yourself. You do like all these different things yourself, and then you're overwhelmed. I was so overwhelmed for the wedding. Oh my God, I was so overwhelmed. People were like calling me leading up to the wedding, and I was like, I couldn't answer a phone. I was just like, no, I'm just too stressed. I'm too stressed for like paper flowers, like really? So learn how to like teach someone how to do it. Like I was thinking I'm going to make a whole lot of different paper flowers, which I did. I made some really beautiful things and I absolutely loved what I did. And my mom was like, what can I do? Let me help. What can I do? And I was like, I'm thinking about doing maybe some little filler like carnations, which are really easy flowers, just FYI, really easy flowers to make. You get like crepe paper or tissue paper and you scrunch it up and you give it like a bit of a crinkly cut trim, and then you pretty much just wrap them onto themselves and that's it. And you glue them and they're done. They're really easy flowers to make. And so that's all that in my head I could think of to tell my mum what I could do and what I thought she could do. I was like, okay, maybe some like filler cut. She was like on it. She made like 300. Like she made so many flowers. And I was like, okay, shit. I don't need that many. But you've made them. All right, let's weave them in. Just things like that. I feel like if I had spent a bit more time and told her exactly the thing I want, rather than being like, she's not going to be able to work it out, I'll just do it myself, she would have definitely worked it out. So many people can make paper flowers. It is so easy. Yeah, she would have been able to help and I would have had more. But no, in the lead up, in my stress, I was just like, I'll just do it. So yeah, my advice is no.
Delegate and outsource.
Yes, delegate, baby. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, and know when to hand it off to a professional because it isn't worth making 300 carnation flowers. Like, not everyone has the time to do that either. Like, so that's a big task.
People aren't insane. Yeah, people have normal lives. Absolutely. I think I just, while I'm doing anything, I'm crafting. Like, I feel like my hands are always doing a thing. So in my mind, that's normal, but that is not normal. Very aware that it's not normal.
And it can, if when the stress gets too great too, and you are faced with making 300 flowers like 3 days before your wedding, that then does take away from your relaxation of the day and your excitement because you're so stressed about getting this DIY project done.
Exactly.
So set yourself deadlines.
That's it. I mean, again, that's advice I need in my normal life, just setting myself deadlines. I really just leave things to the last minute. It's terrible. Like I think we were having a 2 days ahead chatting to the celebrant and he's at our house and I'm like gluing flowers as I'm like, yep, just gluing flowers.
So let's get into your actual day because I feel like we could talk about DIY forever. Sorry. I love a bit of DIY. No, you and Malen did a first look. So tell me about why you decided to do a first look and how that kind of all unfolded.
Yeah, the first look I think was just such a nice touch. I reckon that really made the day for us because we're both a bit, I don't know, like proclaiming your love in front of 100 people is very embarrassing. It's like, we're not the
it's very vulnerable.
Isn't it? You just like, it's something very private. Well, to us anyway. And we're not the kind of people that are like, oh, like kissing in public or whatever. We're sort of like, don't touch me. And so in front of 100 people to be like, oh my God, I love you so much. It was a lot. And it was a lot on our mind because we more want to be happy and funny and have a laugh with everybody. And when you kind of, talking about emotions, it was a bit of a nerve-wracking thing. Malen more so than me, but when I sort of said, there's a thing you can do where you can meet up in advance and like get some photos. And he was like, yes, let's do it. Oh my God, yes. And the other thing about the first look is you can get a whole bunch of photos in advance, which means when you, on the day after you finish your ceremony and traditionally go off between the ceremony and the reception and get your photos done, you're actually, once you've done the first look, you're kind of not gone for that long because you've done a whole lot of photos in advance. And that was another real selling point for us because we wanted to spend the time with everyone there. It's like we're always just the two of us.
Yep. Yeah.
So, that was another kind of plus. Oh my God, yeah, it was really nice. Just like, so we got married at the Line, which is in Footscray. It was kind of like industrial kind of suburb in Melbourne. And there's lots of like brickworksy buildings and really like old, just cool laneways. And so I met him. I got dropped off at one of the laneways, and then the photographer came with him and met me there. And just like he wasn't looking, and then I was like, "Hi, I'm here," and he turned around, and it was really lovely. And he cried, yes.
Tick that box. So then you did your first look, and then you went into your ceremony, which kicked off with punk music, was officiated by a friend, and had your mums do readings, which I love because it just feels like it was so personal. So you made your ceremony really personal. Yeah. So how important were those personal touches to you? And you obviously did them throughout the day with DIY, but how else did you do them?
Yeah, totally. I think that it's such a good, a wedding is such a good time to be able to show your personality rather than just do this kind of cookie cutter thing. So yeah, having our mums do readings was nice. There was a poem about a dog, raising a dog, and we love dogs. And another one was an excerpt from this like favorite book of mine. And yeah, my mum and dad walked me down the aisle as well, which was something else that I wanted to do. My parents are divorced, and yeah, the whole like giving your child away thing is interesting and whatever. That's another thing. The ceremony, the readings were beautiful. Both of our mums were like the signatories on the
witnesses.
The witnesses, thank you. And our vows, we wrote our own vows. That was really nerve-wracking, actually, like writing something to them, to say. That was the bit, I guess, where we're like proclaiming our love to each other. Yeah. And having our friend be the celebrant. He recently, like over the last few years, became a celebrant, but prior to the wedding. So that was really cool to have him involved. And it was lots of little touches. It's hard to remember because it was in 2019.
We've all lived about 9 lives since then, haven't we?
Really? Yeah, but I do often look back on it and think, God, I was so nice that we did that. Something that I think I spent way too much time on and did not notice is the playlists. So like love all different kinds of music and things. And I curated like a different playlist for each of the different segments of the day. And I have no idea if they played. Like I have no memory. I'm pretty sure I told someone to play them, but I don't know if they did or not. And it doesn't matter. Like some of those things where you spend so much time.
You think it matters.
It doesn't matter. It was definitely nice, and whatever was playing was lovely, and I had a fantastic time. But some of those details, that you can forego them, I think.
So you say your I do's and everyone's excited and happy, and then your dream team flips the room entirely to be a reception space. Yeah. So how did that work?
So the Line is quite cool where it's set up. There's like a larger, big open space that's sort of segmented into 2 sections. So they'd actually already set up the reception space, set the table, had the hanging on one half, and then there was like a curtain in front of that. And then so the ceremony, we actually on the other side of the curtain. So we couldn't see the tables, but we then all moved from the ceremony section down sort of like a mezzanine. It's sort of downstairs where they had set up a bar and everyone was doing their drinks. And then after some photos, we kind of nipped off a little bit and did some group photos with the bridal party and my family. And during that time, they moved all of the chairs that were in the aisle back into the reception area, opened up the curtain, and then sort of just transformed that ceremony space into a dance floor, which, I mean, when you're having your reception drinks and food, you're not really ready to dance. But it was just like they really used the space quite well, and it didn't feel like you didn't even notice it happening. Like I didn't know. There wasn't like loud tables moving or anything like that. It was really seamless. So that was cool. And again, like it was just so nice to have it all in the same venue. Like no one had to travel anywhere. We didn't have to being like, okay, guys, so hope you've all got your maps. Off you go. We'll see you in about 3 hours. Like, it was just like, we're all still here. We're all just hanging around and having some cool drinks and listen to hopefully some cool music, whatever was playing.
And I feel like that's a really good mark for professional in that sense, because there's no way you could DIY that.
Oh my gosh.
Flipping after a wedding.
You'd have to get everyone involved that's in the wedding. Like, everyone that's already helping you, like, organize. You'd have to be like, okay, put your drinks down.
Exactly. And I feel like
fine as well. Like, that's totally fine if everyone's keen to do it, but it would just make it really, like, relaxed and chilled. Like, everyone could just come downstairs and have a drink and then, oh, look, they've already it. Like, it was so cool.
And I feel like that's a really big thumbs up for your event crew, which was Foresight Events, who not only helped event manage your day, but also did all your catering. So tell me about your Foresight Events experience and how all that worked and your rave reviews for them.
Yeah, rave reviews. Seriously, I will not stop raving about them. Yeah, they were the first people we got in touch with. When I'm planning events, I guess all I really care about is the food, like, what are we eating? And so I thought that would be a really good place to start, because I'm like, okay, I wanted it to be, it's called like banquet style, where you've got all the food on the table rather than alternate drop or whatever, when they're like, the plates are coming to you ready done. I wanted this banquet style. I didn't know it was called that. I was like, what's it called when you're like at a family dinner, basically, and you're all sharing food? And Katie's like, yes, that is called banquet style. I'm like, okay. I reached out to her and a number of other caterers, Melbourne event kind of food caterers and event planners.
Yeah.
We have so many cool, amazing caterers in Melbourne. Like, it blew
we really do.
Yeah. Hard to choose, to be honest. But then when I met Katie from Foresight, I was just like, okay, this is easy, like, one and done. We met her. I didn't meet anyone else because I just, after meeting her, I was like, why would you look anywhere else? It's so good. Yeah, so we talked through the menu and then she was like, okay, love it. Like, you sound like a slacker. This is awesome. Like, my ideas already like crazy at that point. And yeah, she loved it. She was on board. They just love, at Foresight, I think they really love just like weirdos. So it was good. It was a good match. So they work out, I think a lot of caterers in Melbourne do this, but they work regularly out of a number of different venues, and the Line was one of them, but they have another one that is like their main kind of headquarters. So they showed us first and we met her there and it was really beautiful. But I was like, yeah, cool, love this. Like, let's check out the other ones. And then, yeah, she showed me the Line and I was like, insane. Like, this is sick. It's massive. It's so warehousey. It's in this like cool laneway in Footscray. Like, it's just great. Perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, we saw that and I was like, I'm good. Let's do it. Like, let's just do this.
And yeah, they didn't just cater your wedding, did they? Because they actually also helped you with all event management of like managing the venue on the day, etc.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. She ran everything. I mean, they ran everything. I never saw the other dudes, really. There was, I think Justin he's the chef, and I think I met him once when we did like a tasting of the menu. But yeah, otherwise, Foresight in general ran everything. Like, they were in charge of even just being at the venue to accept deliveries and whatever. Like, we had some chairs that we rented just because I thought I liked these particular chairs and I found them on Facebook Marketplace. So we were hiring those. And yeah, she was like, yep, I can be there for that. So yeah, really, really easy to work with. And yeah, if anything was like coming up, like extra charges for whatever or anything, she was just like really upfront and clear. And it was just a dream. It was a dream. And I especially remember on the day, it was just before the ceremony. So we'd already Malen and I had already done our first look, and then we were coming back to the venue, and she was like, okay, everyone else out, like, it's just the two of you now. And she gave us this, like, made sure we had like a moment in the place, like in the little bridal suite, and like brought us some champagne and some nibbles. She's like, make sure you're eating because I know you're not going to eat. Like, she was just really like on it, like, so good. I loved it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
It was really nice. Yeah, it felt like, it just didn't feel like, I don't know, I feel like when you watch movies about weddings and see it happening and watch other people, everyone just seems like it's this big, massive thing and you should be stressed and everyone's getting cold feet and like objecting in the wedding or whatever. Just like, it was none of that. It was just
You've watched too many movies, Amy.
I really do. I've got to get out of the house. But yeah, it was just like so relaxing and like I wasn't nervous once. I was just stoked the whole time. It was just really lovely.
I love that. I love that. So your wedding dress I loved because you had this like beautifully elegant dress and then you had this amazing pom-pom headband, which is like really quintessentially you because it was just like simple and then bang of colour. So tell me about your gown and how you found it and Malen's amazing green suit.
Oh, it was so cool, wasn't it? Yeah, I, again, left it way too late. I have, people in my family were like, how's the dress? Like, what have you chosen 6 months ahead? And I was just like, I've not chosen anything. I haven't thought about it at all. I've like vaguely thought about it, but I feel like I have commitment issues. I say, talking on a wedding podcast, that's terrible. But just like to actually choose one of my many, many ideas that I had, it was really hard. It was the same with all the decorations as well. So yeah, I basically was like, oh, I've done it again. And I went and did some like fun wedding dress try-ons and at some bridal stores within Melbourne, which is like a nice experience. They give you bubbles and it's all lovely. And I brought my mum and one of my bridesmaids. But yeah, either things were like way out of my budget that I really liked, like a full like head to toe sequins, like how cool. No, could not afford that. And then, yeah, or they just didn't fit or they didn't, it wasn't right. None of the dresses that I found were really the right thing. And then I was like, okay, should I get something made? How much time do you need to get something made? And like, definitely.
Note to people, you probably can't do this post-COVID because timelines are shorter and there is much more struggle with materials, etc.
Note to people,
it's a little bit
like,
trickier now.
Before COVID.
Don't do what Amy did.
This is a what not to do, isn't it? About DIY your own wedding.
No, not at all.
What not to do? Everything that I've just said. So I think I was on Facebook. I was in like a Facebook weddings group or something. And I was just like, hey, does anyone like make wedding dresses? And this chick was like really humble and was like, oh, hey, I think I can help. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like what? And then she's like, I've actually just opened my own atelier. And I'm like, okay, oh my God, what? She's like, and yeah, like we make wedding dresses. I'm like, okay, talk to me. She said, your budget sounds good. Your time frame is a little bit short, but I think I can help. And anyway, so it turns out she was Grace from 12 South Bridal, and she'd opened this new beautiful store in, I think it was Traralgon. It was like in Gippsland, basically, which from Melbourne is like, I can't remember, 1 hour drive, 1.5 hour drive or something like that, maybe more. And I was like, love it. Like, let's just do it. You are so nice. And she was just so nice. She was so nice. And she had the coolest stuff. And she wasn't like, oh my God, I'm like this sick bridal atelier person. She was like, what do you want? Like, what do you like? She just, I feel like some of those bridal stores, they really just like push their like latest trends on you or something like that. Whereas she was so nice to deal with. And so what happened is I ended up getting this custom thing made because I showed her some stuff off Pinterest and she was like, okay, like, sure, but maybe we'll try it this way. And yeah, after like a bit of a back and forth, she has a dressmaker that she works with who was in Melbourne, which was a bit more convenient for me. And I did my fittings there at this woman's like personal kind of studio. Yeah, so that was like a bit of a eye-opener to the whole dressmaking thing because I have no idea how that stuff is done. Like I know I craft stuff, but in terms of like clothing, there's like lots of sort of sessions of the different parts that they've been working on and you try them on and like trying on the canvas thing to start with. They make like a pretend dress to start with to get all your measurements. I was like, I hate it. Nah, I'm going somewhere else. Oh my God. I could not visualize like how it was going to look with the right material. And yeah, I was actually so stressed. I was like, oh no, I've left it too late. I hate the dress. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And then, yeah, I just like told them everything and they were like, okay, like talking me off the ledge. No, Amy, it's fine. Like it was just canvas, it'd be fine. And then anyway, they had made like the bodice and fixed it and we actually removed like an inner section and blah, blah, blah. It was beautiful. I loved it in the end. It was really good.
It really was. And you paired it with pom-poms.
And then I made the pom-poms.
In your hair instead of a veil.
Yes. Yeah, I can't remember why I did that, but I remember just being like, well, it has to be like we have to have pom poms. Like if everyone's wearing a pom pom badge, I'll have to do a pom pom thing. And I forget her name. Is it Hedy Lamar? I say as I'm quickly just googling it. No. What's her name? There's like this old timey actress. I think it is Hedy Lamar, and she had this. Yes. Sorry, I'm just on Google. I'm start that again. So I had this inspiration from this old Hollywood star called Hedy Lamar. She had worn this starry headpiece thing that like kind of came from her shoulders and went like up and around her head, and that was my initial plan. I was like, yes, like it has to be ridiculous and big, and like I want to feel like I'm, I don't know, like Mardi Gras or something, like just like huge thing. And like I said before, some of those like ridiculous plans just start like getting a bit smaller and more manageable as time goes on and as you've left things too late. And then I was like, okay, that, but pom-poms. And then I'm like, okay, pom-poms are really heavy. That's not going to work. Maybe I'll do a crown. And then I was working on a crown and then worked out this way to like kind of make them sit higher and more bunched up. And yeah, I ended up with this just like completely handmade. It's really dodgy if you look at it up close, but like from far away, it looks quite impressive. This headband full of like 30 or 40 pom-poms or something like that. And they're all different sizes and all working on the same kind of color palette as the rest of the stuff, like reds and oranges, pinks, yellows, bit of brown, maybe some neon yellow or something like that. But yeah,
I loved it.
It was really fun.
And it worked with, so Malin wore green velvet and your bridesmaids wore bright pink and orange dresses from Mrs. Amy. So how obviously, like, it's all about the colour in this wedding, but was there a particular thought process around the attire?
Yes. Yes and no. It was one of those, I feel like this is weird, but I had a colour palette, but like not really. I wanted everyone to wear colour. I wanted everyone at the bridal party to be wearing something colourful, but I also wanted everyone to feel like it was their clothes as well. Like I didn't want to dress someone like a Barbie doll in a dress that I liked but has like no meaning to them. So I had two bridesmaids. Both of them are called Lauren. Also, how funny is that? It's like Amy and the Laurens. They both dress completely different from each other and completely different from me. So something that I was like, oh my God, so cute. They were like, ew, no, it's not going to suit me. And that's like totally fair, right? You want everyone to be feeling comfortable. So I just said to them, can we somehow work out like how to wear something that's like bright and bold? I didn't say like it has to be pink and orange or anything. I was just like, it has to be colorful and it has to kind of pack a punch. And then so one of Lauren's was like, I want to wear a jumpsuit. And so we were looking for a jumpsuit and then some kind of more like girly dress frilly thing to match for the other Lauren. And yeah, actually what ended up happening is the jumpsuit Lauren was like, we found this Mr. Zimmy print, which was like pink. And then, yeah, it's like these orangey kind of mustard semicircles, big bold pattern on them. It was so perfect. It was like my exact favorite colors at the time. And jumpsuit Lauren went into the store and was like, okay, I'm just going to try a bunch on and we'll see like what they look like. And she ended up getting like the most kind of feminine flowy dress. And it was really funny because she wanted the jumpsuit. She would have looked amazing if they had that in the jumpsuit. I think they did, but it wasn't like a right cut. Anyway, so she got that dress and then they also did this like separate bit where they had a skirt and a top set. And yeah, other Lauren got that. And yeah, it was just gorgeous. They kind of just worked out really nicely. And I think at the time they had a sale, so it was really good.
And they popped. Yeah, they worked right in with your colour palette, so it was perfect.
And then, yeah, so Malin had this gorgeous green velvet suit, but he wasn't like, I need a green suit. He was like, what suits are there? Like, he doesn't wear suits. He wears like jeans and t-shirts, you know? It's like, when do you wear suits if you're not going to a wedding? I mean, fancy people probably do, but we don't. So we were like, all right, let's go like into suit shops and see what there is. And yeah, it was literally like, we went into MJ Bale was the brand, one of their stores in the city, I think. And then yeah, he saw this suit and he was like, amazing. I was like, would you wear that? Would you actually like wear a green velvet suit? And he's like, yeah. I think I really misjudge how colourful he truly is. Or maybe I rubbed off on him. I'm not sure. But yeah, it was this gorgeous, beautiful. So he just got the jacket and then I can't remember. I'm sure that there were matching pants, but he didn't get them. He ended up just doing like a bone colour, the trousers and like a white shirt. Oh, and then we got Peggy and Finn, that gorgeous brand that does like ties, bow ties, and I think they do underwear, a whole bunch of things. We got a bow tie from them and then 2 ties that match the same print for his groomsmen, which were 2 of his best friends. And yeah, that was really cool. They had a similar pink to the girls' dresses that were in the bow ties, or in the ties. So I thought that was cool. But otherwise it didn't like match. Like nothing really matched. It was just rainbow. It's all over the shop.
And speaking of colour palettes, I want to make sure I quote this one properly. You told your photographer, Tanya, I let her know right from the get-go that there would be none of this misty beige coloured romantic-looking nonsense. This was going to be an assault on the eyes of colour and ridiculousness. Yeah. So tell us about your experience of finding and choosing Tanya in your world of I want colour. Like colour. If you think of a brief for your wedding, it was like colour and extra, which I love.
Yeah,
like I'm all for that.
My friends say my motto must be more is more. Like, like the opposite of less is more.
Yep.
It's true. I like it a lot. Oh yeah, so how we found Tanya, I'm pretty sure that was through Instagram. I was just like, for ages had been like looking through what photographers exist. Like, how do you even begin to choose a wedding photographer? Because there's so many fantastic ones in my area in Melbourne, just as a start.
Yeah.
So I started making a wish list and just started looking through, who does what. But then I realized Tanya does weddings, but primarily she did like editorial, like music, like she does like band shots and really like moody stuff. And I mean, I'm sure she has a lot of beige photos as well, but like she just did a lot of like really like cool otherworldly looking things. And I was like, yes, like whatever, I don't know what ours are going to look like, but like whatever it is, I think she'll be able to deal. And so I said that to her. I was just like, I don't really want like, I think I'm a maximalist, and I think having really like stripped the color palette down to like a brown and a cream and a tan or something, it's just not me. It's not what I think the day will be like. And it was less, I mean, I definitely said that. I definitely said like, I don't want any of this tan stuff, but it was more that I wanted the photos to be fun and happy and like funny. Like I wanted her to like capture what I was assuming and what I like correctly assumed would be everyone just like cackling with laughter, dancing, and just like the fun. I just wanted the vibe to be the photographer to be able to capture that the vibe was like so much fun, because it was just so much fun. And she nailed it. I again left it way too late to arrange. Actually, I think I just flat out forgot to arrange a smoke bomb. I wanted to do a big colourful smoke thing. And I think technically they're like for plumbers, where they put them in pipes and then they set them off and then they can see if like the pipe has a crack, if they can see some smoke come out or something. But the craft industry, I think, is like latched onto this and was like, yes, you can make pink smoke. Yes. So I think they come in all different colors, but I saw a picture one time of like a pink smoke bomb. And I was like, we have to do that. Like we 100% have to do that. So in my head, I was like, yeah, I'll get him. And then it was like maybe a month or 3 weeks out or something. And I was like, oh no, I've forgotten to order them. It's a really specific way you have to order them. You can only get them posted to you in a particular time frame or something, because it's like dangerous to post them. I can't remember what it is. Anyway, if you want to do it, like get them well in advance. And I messaged her. I was like, I forgot. And she's like, that's all right. I already got some. I'm like, okay, I love you. Whatever they cost, just tell me and we'll get them. So yeah, that was so lucky because she even had pink, which is the color I wanted. And yeah, the best photo I remember is it's so weird. They're kind of like incense. You light them and then they just slowly burn this like gray chalk looking thing down to the ground, but like the smoke that comes out of them is just huge and pink and really vibrant. So yeah, she set one off in the laneway and we stood in front of it, and so the backdrop is just like really cool laneway vibes. It's really cool, like brickwork walls and like kind of dirty divey road, but it was really nice. But you do have like a time limit, like you have to get the photos while it's happening. And then the wind started coming and it was like blowing the smoke towards her. And she's like, oh my God. So we're sort of a mist in the background for some of the photos. But yeah, that was such a nice addition, having that smoke bomb, because it was like so colorful and she was so on board. Actually, I think she even suggested it before I suggested it. I think when I said like, color, she was like, have you seen smoke bombs? I was like, yes, you're hired. Let's do it.
Were there any other vendors that you have rave reviews for apart from, so you've got Foresight, 12 South and Tanya, who are amazing.
Do I just rave? I'm just a raver. I think I rave about everyone.
Give us all the raves. I feel like word of mouth recommendations are the best kind of recommendations. So who else do you want to rave review about?
God, yeah, everyone we worked with was so good. To be honest, we didn't work with like that many more people. Who I haven't mentioned is a friend of mine, Brooke, who...
Oh, yes. I was going to come up to this too. So you did actually, we talk about the DIY stuff and we're going to head more into like your lessons, but you pulled a friend in.
Yeah.
The reason I say this is I'm very much of the belief that someone always carries the mental bandwidth of your day, right? It's like the home thing that we're all talking about. Traditionally, the woman carries the mental bandwidth of the day. And,
yes.
Alone. I think that happens with weddings. And if you don't hand that off to someone, you carry it as a couple. So you handed that off to someone. So tell me about Brooke.
Brooke is an angel sent from heaven for me. She is like the best. Brooke and I met at this craft event that she was the assistant to the person who was running it, and I knew that person somehow and I was helping set it up. So we met on the day, we're like, hey, and we both had exactly the same approach to just the stuff we had to get done in a really short amount of time. And anyway, we both just kind of bonded over like our love of these things, our love of like making stuff. We're just so on the same level. And so that was years ago, and we have just stayed loosely in touch since then. And I've been watching the things that she does. She's created this new mobile craft installation company after running Sugar Republic. Sugar Republic is like an
Instagram museum in a way, wasn't it?
An Instagram museum, basically. Yeah. So you go in there, you can take like loads of photos, and she pretty much ran that whole installation. So basically what I'm trying to say is she knows props, she knows like handmade stuff, she knows like tools, all the stuff to make the vision that you have come alive. And I was like, okay, I need help. There's no way I'm going to be on the morning of my wedding or on the day before the wedding building something. Like I'm going to be like trying to get my makeup done. And I have a lot of hair, so I feel like the hairdresser will be like spending the whole morning trying to tame my hair. So I was like, I'm definitely going to need some help. And then I was like, Brooke, why haven't I thought of this earlier? So I got in touch with her, and basically I just said all the ideas I had. And she was like, okay, you're a psycho, but okay, yes, we can do this. We can do anything, but we need to allow time. She was just so level-headed. Nothing I ever said, she was like, no, impossible, which most people in my life usually say. Everyone's just like, Amy, rein it in. Brooke was like, okay, yes, we can do that, but it might cost a little bit more than you think, or whatever. She was just so easy to work with and so helpful. And so basically I wanted her to come in and help me do things like physically setting it up. So putting the paper flowers that I'd made into the arbor, getting the signage in the right place, even helping with like directing the people, like Sarah from Banging Hangings installing. She actually has worked with the line a few times before, so Sarah knew exactly where to go. But Brooke was kind of there to like coordinate all the decor craft stuff that she knew, because she knows me, she knows what my vision was. And I think she even like did the chairs lining up, like the lanterns. She did all of that, all of this stuff that I don't think I could have trusted just like anyone to do. She knew exactly what I would have been thinking about. Anyway, so she was such a help. And that mental load, exactly. I literally was able to be like, Brooke will sort it out. Brooke sorted it out. I forgot this thing. Brooke, she's like, yep, I've already brought 2 backups or whatever. Like she just knew, she preempted anything that could happen. Like, she was in charge of the whole thing. It was more Brooke's wedding, I think.
With your vision though, so speaking of Brooke, when it comes to then advice that you would give couples when it comes to if they're doing a lot of DIY stuff for their day, it sounds like it would be to
have a helper.
Know when to fold it. Know when to fold it. And have a helper. Yeah. Have it especially on the day, because chances are if you're doing a lot of DIY, you've been run ragged the week leading up to the wedding. Hopefully you've set a deadline that we talked about earlier. But if you haven't, you're probably everyone is doing stuff the week before the wedding. Like, if you're DIYing a CD chart or whatever you're DIYing, you're kind of like, you don't need to do that on your day. Hand it over to someone on your day.
Hand that over. Yeah, totally. Have a helper.
It doesn't have to be a pro either. Like, we love a pro. We think pros are worth it, but it can be a friend if a pro is not in your budget.
It really made me be like, wow, I never thought, like, I thought that wedding planners were just for like, I don't know, really wealthy people who were like, I don't care, just like money is no object. It's so not true. Like, someone to organize stuff for you, oh my God, it would just, seriously. It is so, so, so worth it. I think. So someone like Brooke is a bit of a wild card because she can do everything. She has like, she is a pro. She is like, she's got all this experience. I was just lucky that I knew her. But for people who don't have like a Brooke in their life, I would just divvy it up. Be like someone to be in charge of the signage, someone to be in charge of, whatever the elements of your day were. Yeah, for someone to help you so you know that you can just let them deal with it. The benefits of it being one person, though, I think, is they are all over all the things. If someone is just in charge of one.
You need one contact point almost. Yeah. You can delegate the other bits, but have someone main in charge or in charge of it
totally. All. But the delegation to someone that you know you can rely on is, totally that mental load. It made everything just like such a relief. And she was like sending me updates and showing me pictures that I kind of didn't want to see because I sort of was like, I know that when I get there, I'm going to be like, wow. And I was.
Well, that's the other benefit, isn't it? You get that surprise and that,
that's it.
My visions come together without you having to build that vision.
Yeah, like she made this sick. I was like, I do a lot of things when I have people like that in my life, like it's other designers that I work with as well. I'm like this, but not like this, but you know what I mean, but make it blue. And they're like, yep, got it. Like when you are on the same wavelength as somebody like that, it is so good. So I sent her all these pictures from Pinterest of like basically hectic balloons that look like, I don't know, someone's just like exploded, like a balloon bomb has gone off and there's just balloons everywhere. I sent her these pictures and basically said like I kind of want like a balloon thing by the entrance, and she made this like beautiful massive mixture of, it was like a balloon garland, but it was sort of just standing free form on its own in the corner of the warehouse where you enter. It just really set the mood as soon as you walked in, and like she just created that. She made that like up from my really vague images that I sent her that I was like this but not like this but like this. It was so good. It was so awesome.
Hire the pros, get the friends.
Get
so
the friends,
years on now, you've had some time, and yes, we've had a pandemic, which has been brutal in between, but it's also, I suppose, made things clarify. So looking back on that now, did you have any obstacles that you had to overcome during your planning and things that you wish you'd done differently now that you've had some time and some perspective?
Yeah, I think, like I said before, spending a lot of time on some things, I guess it's hard to know, but spending heaps of time on the details of some things that completely did not even get noticed if I was to go back and do it again, I'd be like, okay, ditch that. Like, just forget about that stuff. Or just don't stress so much about that stuff. That's what I would change, is thinking that I had to do it all. Otherwise, I don't know. Like, otherwise what was going to happen? I don't know. But I think in my mind back then, I was like, no, I have to be the one who does it all.
The DIY queen. I have to live up to it.
That's probably what it was. Like, just really wanting to own it for some reason. Whereas, like, no one cares. No one cares. No one cares who did what bit. It was like, it looks good. That's all really anyone wants to see or wants to know. Yeah. But just like, you know, like the playlist, like, who cares? There were some other things, I can't remember exactly what, but it was like, I don't know, spending so much time worrying about the color of the linen napkins. Like, who cares? No one cares. Just to leave all of those little details, like, yes, they're fun to plan, but if it gets a bit much, then just like, don't worry. Like, don't let it stress you. Just focus on all like the fun things that you know are gonna, they're gonna come and make your day the best. Yeah.
And it sounds like with your DIY projects, you almost advise to pick stuff that A, you love doing and that you could have the capacity for, but B, are going to be the most impactful. So like your pom-pom corsages were really impactful because every guest was able to touch it and feel it, but then there may have been other things that, like you said, they didn't notice and weren't worth it. So picking those really things that you loved and that were impactful.
Yes. Yeah. So my other side hustle thing that I haven't really talked about is make parties, which is the craft teacher thing in me. Basically, it's a mobile craft party business where I go to like houses and run a birthday party and we do a craft activity. A lot of the crafts have pom-poms or some kind of like yarn craft in them. So yes, I love a pom-pom. I love making pom-poms. Figured out a way that they're like super easy to make, and yeah, they take like 5 to 10 minutes a pom-pom kind of thing. So when you like add it up, like 100 and something pom-poms, it's kind of a lot. But over time, and when it's like a pleasure to do, when you're like watching TV and you're making a pom-pom, that's fine. So yeah, doing crafts like that yes, if you had to do them in like 2 weeks or whatever, it might be stressful, but it is still a pleasure to do. I reckon that's worth doing. But if it is like, I don't know, you've decided, oh no, I'm going to make my own linen napkins or something like that, and you're like, I don't even know how to sew, but I'm going to work it out, that would be stressful because you don't really know or especially like the thing that you've decided to do the DIY for, but you've now got a time limit and
it's also figuring out what is that like versus my time and money.
That's
like right. Making your own living napkins can not necessarily be cheaper than hiring them in that sense.
So true. I think, when you don't have much money, you know that you have time.
Your time is free.
You're like, okay, I don't have money, but I have time, so I'll just use my time. But then there's got to be a line. Like, there's got to be a limit where, okay, this is actually quite a lot of time that I'm spending. Could this actually be better if spent somewhere else? Maybe sleep.
Yep, agree. Yeah. Sleep and enjoying your engagement.
Enjoying it, exactly. And like looking forward and being excited for the wedding. Yeah, totally.
So you've got Crumpet Club now and you've got Make Parties, which is you had before the wedding, and Malin is moving into wine. So what is next for you two now that you're probably not quite newlyweds anymore, are you? You're kind of like...
Yeah, I feel like...
You're well into established married life.
I think a lot of us are. Anyone who got married before the pandemic and then like was locked down for like 2
you got thrown in really quickly.
Concentrated like the next 5 or 10 years into 2 years, basically. You're just there every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's next for us? Well, yeah, I think I'd like to grow Crumpet Club a bit more. Make Parties has been on the back burner a little bit because something came up over the last 2 years.
We couldn't have parties, so you couldn't make parties.
Exactly. So yeah, I kind of put that on pause because I was just like, no one's going to do it. Why don't I, do my graphic design stuff instead? And that's like, the real moneymaker really, because parties only really happen on the weekends. And again, they weren't even happening at all. So but I think eventually I'll be doing that again. I've been doing lots of like handmade props for some people, like some people that I know that are getting married. I'm helping them with some crafty additions to their big day, which is fun. So I am the person that they're delegating stuff to, which is good.
They've learnt from you.
Yes, I told them, I'm like, do not do it yourself. don't be crazy. And then Malin with his winemaking. I'm so excited about that. I just think it's still kind of up in the air. Like we don't know what's going to happen. We live in the middle of Melbourne, and space is at a premium, and you need a bit of space to have.
You do.
I mean, obviously you need a vineyard if you want to be growing the grapes. But you can also be buying the grapes and producing them in a space, which you need less room for, but still you need more than like a 2-bedroom terrace house. So I don't know. I think the future is open and possibilities endless. I'm excited. I don't know what's going to happen.
The adventure awaits.
That's it. It really
Thank you so much for joining me today. And I think there's so much room to look back on your DIY wedding now that you've done so many DIY stuff and reflect with some perspective now that you've sort of learnt everything.
That's it. It was a wild ride, that's for sure.
But a worth it one, because it was amazing. And I'm so thrilled we got to chat and share it.
Thank you for having me. It was beautiful.
Thank you. All the thanks to Amy. It was so wonderful to be able to chat to her today after sharing her wedding and following her work through Crumpet Club. I'm really thrilled that we're able to finally do it. Now, you can find Amy and her work at Crumpet Club over on polkadotwedding.com/podcast or weddingpodcast.com.au. We've put all the links over there, including a full written transcript of today's show and all the vendor credits. Now, we've said it before and we'll say it again because we are still a brand new podcast and we're still in season 1. So we would love your reviews, thoughts, feedback and ideas on the Feel Good Wedding podcast. We love interacting with you. It's why we do what we do. It's why we get out of bed every day, and we would love to hear what you're thinking and what you'd love to see. So hop on over to your favourite platform. We're pretty much going to be everywhere and we would love to hear your thoughts. We'll be back in another 2 weeks with another episode. Can't wait to chat to you then.